What's going on, guys? It's your guy Professor O coming through with a dose of that good yoke. I'm everywhere like broken glass. I'm around like a circle. Anyhow, let's get down to this round now. What today I want to talk about is mastering your mind, right? Well, how I'm gonna start this off. I actually written it down because it gets a little, let's see how we can do that. Yes, let's start off with that. Your mind is a tool that enjoys engagement. What does that mean? It literally means that your mind loves minding. It doesn't matter if it's positivity, it doesn't matter if it's negativity. It just loves the point or the process of engaging, figuring it out, constant motion, constant engagement. Really, I don't even have any other term to actually make it more specific. But you also got to realize it doesn't really matter whether it's positive or negative. It just likes figuring things out and engaging in it. Simple as that. Now, how can that be more detrimental? How can it be more positive for your outcome involving, your overall life? Is what are you allowing into your mental real estate? Because whatever you're allowing in your mental real estate, your mind is automatically going to start working on. Whether it's the procedures, obligations, priorities that you already have aligned, your errands that you have to run for today or tomorrow, or maybe some things you did in the past, whatever the factor may be, it's always going to continue minding. It's going to want to figure it out. It's going to want to go over what you already done. It's going to want to think about more. It's going to continuously be engaged because that's what it's for. It's an actual beautiful tool for you to master so you can be able to progress through your life effortlessly while being able to have a proper plan. Now, how can this tool be used against you? Well, that's when you start to allow other things inside your mentality or into your mental real estate or your personal oasis, as I like to call it. And it starts to do, you don't even know, you know what I mean? Because it just, you'll know it because you'll feel it. You'll be tired, you'll probably overthink. There'll be a whole bunch of other stuff that doesn't really make sense to you at that point. But what I can tell you is it wouldn't be working for your benefit because you'll feel it. You'll overall be drained, or your mind and body is also truly is connected at all times, and that's dealing with your emotions, sex, and so forth. Watch the previous video. You'll understand exactly what I mean when I was talking about mind, body, soul alignment. But dealing with the mind, it's going to constantly want to be engaged. So how do we master the engaging part, right? Knowing that, all right, I wanted to engage in the positivity. Well, it's number one, understanding what are you allowing to your mental real estate. Another point, are you cleaning up? You know what I mean? Are you taking the things out? Are you doing the inner work? Because when you start doing the inner work towards your mind and mentality, then you'll be able to, have something more positive to engage in, instead of looking at something more negative or your mind focusing on the negative, right? Your mentality controls your reality. I digress. All right. Now, how do we master it? At one point would be practice not talking, right? Practice not talking for periods of time. Literally, when you're close this mouth, that's when you'll start to realize your inner voice will get a little bit louder. And when your inner voice gets a little bit louder, then you'll start to actually think a little bit more clearer, because you'll be able to hear your inner voice a little bit more clearer, etc. and so forth. And then you'll also be more mindful of the things that's already in there. I digress. And how does that work? Is when you just, think more. So then when you start thinking, you'll be more aware of your thoughts. Excuse me. After you start realizing you're hearing your inner voice a little bit more clearer, start thinking less at that point and start doing more. When you get in the point of doing, now you're making yourself more present. And when you're making yourself more present, then your doing part becomes more evident. You want to do more instead and think less. And then now you'll start thinking efficiently. Like you'll just think enough. Be like, all right, I need to do this, I need to do that, and then I gotta do this to get to that point. All right, cool. Now, then you won't think anymore. You'll just start doing. So getting more doing, right? It's interesting, right? If you notice, I told you to think a little bit more in the beginning, and then later down the line, you start thinking less. Well, again, I want to go over that because when you're thinking more, you're clarifying your inner thought. Your inner thought is becoming more clearer, louder. You'll be able to hear it more. You have more control over it. But then now you gotta, after you stop doing that, now you gotta do. Get in the point of doing. Because at the same time, when you're thinking about it, you can think about anything to the moon and the sun can rise. It's just, thinking never ever stops. But what does stop is when you're doing, and time is always of the essence, depending on how you're doing it. So when you're thinking, you need to start doing. And when you're doing, then you also learn that you're not thinking as much anymore. What you're doing is coming into a more proper case. I digress, all right? So when you're doing more, right? And now as you're doing it, you realize that now you're bringing yourself more into the present. Right now you're more presently here. You're here, like, you know what I mean? Because when you're thinking, you're not really here. You're either in the past or you're in the future. Simple as that. But when you're doing, you're present. You're here. You're experiencing things in totality because you're not thinking. Your mind can never be present because the present is consistently going and it's faster than your mind. Simple as that. But in order to be faster than the present, you can only think about the future. Simple as that. Your mind will never ever be present. But the more you do, the more you'll be in the present and the more you think less. I digress on that. But while you're doing this and now you're becoming more present, you'll realize you're thinking more less. Like your thoughts is more, again, they're becoming more efficient. It's like, all right, when you do this, that, and third, I repeated it, but you know, the mission of repetition, the art not only win, but continue to keep winning. I know, you like that, right? It's all right. But you'll become more present, you're clearer, right? Do more, you'll get there. And as you start realizing this, and as you start becoming into more of the do, you start realizing that you're literally not the mind. Your mind is literally a tool. And then now that's when the separation becomes, and it becomes more apparent, which is a beautiful thing. Because as you're becoming more apparent and you're becoming more, how do you say, you're becoming more apparent and you're becoming more, what's the word? What would be the proper term? What would be the proper term? It would be more, I'll say, you're present, you're doing more, and as you're doing more, you'll realize you're thinking less. And as you're thinking less, you'll start to realize your mind is literally a tool, as I've been explaining. And as you're realizing it's a tool that you've been explaining, that I've been explaining, you start to realize you're not the mind. And then now here's the separation begins. And then when the separation begins, you'll start to realize, all right, my thoughts are not me. It's a constant stream of things that are within, things that are without, etc. so forth. You'll get the realization. Because there's points of realization where words truly just cannot explain. You have to experience it. But the words, what's beautiful and what God has blessed us with, will be able to lead us into that experience. I digress. So as you're getting into that point and you're understanding the separation of you and your mind, and you'll be able to realize the things that are not a part of you, they're flowing through you, and now you can choose what do you want to entertain. You'll choose what do you want to make of you, to make this a part of you. Then you'll start to realize, all right, now I don't take things personally anymore. I take things more generally, because now everything is happening all at once at a certain point in time. But again, you'll start to understand these terms and phrases when you reach to that point, if you actually do. Again, a lot of these videos, I'm really just talking to myself, so it is what it is. I digress. So when you start entering into that point where there's no thought, and then when there's no thought, you start to realize that it's not an action of doing, it's an action of surrendering, right? You're no longer looking for no thought. You're no longer trying to no think, because when you're surrendering, you're giving it up. And when you're giving things up, it's like, all right, I surrender to the no thought. I surrender to the point that now I realize that I can't stop thinking, right? You'll realize in the doing and then the separation of your mind, you'll realize, all right, now I'm not taking things personally, I'm taking things generally. And as I'm taking things more generally, I'm realizing these things were never even a part of me. They were in me, but not of me. Then you realize a lot of these things came from the outer and they never were in the inner, but they took root inside. And then when they took root inside, you started to identify yourselves as those things that was in the inner, and they took up real estate. That's why I say inner work is important and imperative when you're doing your cleaning. Because as you're doing your cleaning, you'll start to realize that you're taking things out that were never even a part of you. And then when you take those things out that were never a part of you, you're making room for the things to come in that will be a part of you, that'll help benefit you for your future. And also you'll make things that already are a part of you to grow more fruitiously, if that's a term, but fruitiously, whatever the case may be, it'll be really good. All right? You know what I mean. All right. Give me one moment. And in this sense, when this happens, and it's total surrender to the point where now things are flowing. And when things start flowing, things are going. When things start going, things are glowing. When things start glowing, things are shining. When things start shining, things are finding. When things start finding, things are aligning. When things start aligning, you understand what's happening, all right? Once that happens, you hit to a point where now you're no longer reacting to things any longer, you're responding. And then you'll realize this is all in response. It's all about response. Because there's always going to be time to do better things. There's always going to be time to do other things. You always have enough time. You'll start making more of your time. You'll start being more effective, so to speak, right? And I'm gonna wrap it up with that right there. Again, this message is for the adept out there, for the masters, the proficient, the efficient, the self-efficient, the one that's always doing it, never losing it, always growing and golden, always glowing. Can you dig it? I think you can. And for the haters out there that love seeing your boy do what I do, make sure you always get my good side. Hey, watch out now. You see your boy got your hair braided. I'm looking good. I'm looking cool. I'm looking smooth all the time. Peace, love, and light, guys. You already know what's going on as we're rolling up in this spot. Don't make it hot. You know what's up. I see you guys in the next vid, all right? Later.